the minutes. Everything does appear to be in order. Did you want to add anything before I formally move to approve them?
No additions or corrections.
All right. So these minutes as presented to me by Mr. Tolleson are approved. Okay. Go on to the hearings portion. We only have 2 for today. Both will be Massey hearings. The first one is, respondent is Jewel W. Griffith and Alan T. Griffith. If the city can go ahead and present its case.
Yes, sir. Like you said, it's a Massey hearing. The case number is 2486, 3452 South Hopkins. I have to present to you the affidavit of hearing and the order from last meeting. Nope.
I should probably leave this on. All right, these will be entered into evidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, those would be.
Okay, all right. You want to go ahead?
Okay, thank you. Like I said, this was Alan and Jewel Griffith, 3452 South Hopkins. Again, a Massey hearing. The original charges, you see there were 6 original charges at the time, or as of today, we're down to the 1, the exterior walls, that hasn't been brought up into compliance. The initial inspection, this started all back last February 21st, 2024 with the notice of violation. The notice of Massey hearing was sent on November 14th and posted on the property and City Hall. And certified mail was delivered on November 7th, and it was received and signed for it on November 15th. On August 12, 2024, the Magistrate Jennifer Nix ordered the respondent, Alan Griffin, to correct the violations by October 11th. If the violations were not resolved, a fine was ordered of $100 per day per violation to start on October 12th, 2024, and continue that the violations are corrected. And he was also informed to contact code enforcement to verify compliance. As of today, December 9th, 2024, the exterior walls have not been properly repaired. There is no element protection covering on the walls, and they haven't been properly done yet. And there has been no permit pulled for the replacement of such. Just a couple photos for you of the original wall. At the time, this was back in February. This is an updated photo. New boards were put up, but they're not sealed correctly, and they don't have any paint or anything on them to seal the exterior. This is just a same side of the building back in February. You can see where they put spray foam in there. And picture didn't turn out as good, but there's still gaps in the wall, allowing moisture and everything to get inside the building. This is the back side in February. This is the same back side. You can see they put new boards up, still haven't been protective painting, and still isn't done properly per code. And then this is the back north side of the property. That's the original photo, and same thing, that's the corner where it's not properly sealed or anything for the exterior walls. Again, it's just to order to respondent to correct the violation, repair or replace the walls, to proper install the walls, and obtain the permit as necessary to take care of it. And as of today, it hasn't been done. The respondent is here today. He would like to talk to you about an extension, but that's up to you to decide.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mr. Griffith? Will it just be you, or?
We've had I just finished
I'm sorry, but before you go, what is your mailing address?
2100 McGregor Boulevard, Fort Myers, Florida, 33901.
All right, thank you.
Sir, your name for the record?
Alan Griffith,
Thank you, sir.
proceed.
Yes, sir.
I've just, since September, I've been going through an eviction with the tenant I had there. If the court would so please, I can present evidence of her impeding any work on the exterior walls. We've attempted to correct them. Now, the photos that you were shown is basically incomplete work, and they're not sealed because we could not finish the work that we had started there. The code enforcement is correct. There's no permit filed, and we can have testimony here today if you would like to hear that we did not think one was necessary because it's essentially a repair. This is T111 construction. And what was showed up on the screen there is yellow painted T111, which is the same thing as being replaced. It does not have to be painted, but code enforcement is correct. It needs to be properly sealed, and that's generally done with a caulking process. And to date, we have not been able to do that. The tenant that was in there, Amanda Wiggins, was basically confronting, fighting, threatening physical altercation with a fellow that was attempting to employ it. I would like, if I could, to have some extension to be able to get the permit in place and to finish it.
Tell me more about the eviction of the tenant. Has that been completed?
As of Friday, Your Honor, I can show you the docket if you would like. I have it here.
Give it to Mr. Tolleson here, and he'll bring it
Yeah,
over.
let me see what we've got here. There's the final judgment. And let's see, that's an extra copy. And hopefully I've got the complete docket here. And there's the docket.
Has a writ of possession been issued?
Excuse me?
Has she actually vacated the property
Yeah,
now?
she's vacated. And I'm in possession of it presently.
The other violations, when were they all cured?
Well, probably September, October. Now, there was an issue with the exposed wiring, and that was done, gosh, quite a while. I have a little difficulty telling you the dates because I'm over in Fort Myers, and I'm only here like once a month or when I have to deal with this. I believe that the electrical violations, that was the first thing repaired. That probably, I don't know, it may have been July or in that area. I mean, I don't think it was before that.
Right. Well, my jurisdiction today is sort of limited. The fines were already imposed at the last hearing, and a deadline for compliance was set for October 11th, which is, almost 2 months ago. I certainly appreciate the efforts that have been made and can sympathize with the issues of getting out a problematic tenant, but I don't think I have the ability to change the deadline from the prior magistrate. All we're simply here to do today is to determine whether or not the violation is still on the property. And so with that being.
Well, it's, I'm not contesting the fact
Yeah.
that it's still in violation.
Right.
But my problem is that with the tenant there and not being in possession of the property, I was basically stopped dead in the water because of her uncooperation.
Would the city like to add anything? Okay. No, I mean, I certainly understand. And It is a difficult situation, but that's why I was asking about some of the other violations, how you were able to get her to comply or fix those and not this particular
Well, I can
one.
tell you very simply. One of the other violations was a roof. It was on the outside front of the building, and it was shingled originally when this was in place, when my parents had it. My
Right.
mom's deceased, Joel Griffith, and basically an area of shingles had fallen off, not a real significant one, but that particular area there, being on the outside, I employed the roofer to do it when I could find one. Now, this property has also been under the management of Leidy, Beckham, and Robinson out of Melbourne. And the other issue I had with this and getting the roofing done is that the people they contacted and everything, they were giving me quotes like $94,000, and I'm going to tell you, I just don't have that kind of money to repair the front fascia of the building for shingles. So as soon as I was able to find a contractor that would do it for a reasonable price, I completed the repair. Which I'm going to tell you was significantly less than the $94,000 that this guy wanted.
Right.
And they were really supposed to have done all these repairs for me, and I should not have had to really get involved in it, but because of affordability, I just had to see who I could find.
No, I understand. Jim, did you add something or?
Mr. Griffith,
Yes, ma'am.
what's your anticipated time frame for bringing the property into compliance? And if you could just speak into the microphone, please.
Huh?
You got to speak into the microphone,
I'm
please.
sorry.
Thank you.
Well, I would like a little longer time, but I'm anticipating probably within the next 30 days to have it completed. I don't even know if it'll take that long, but however, I'm not wanting to have to come back over here to Titusville if I don't have to. It's very difficult for me to get here. I have a full law practice over there. I'm going to leave here and be in federal
You have the
court in the
workers,
morning, and
you have the workers lined up to perform the work?
Yes,
The staff contends that a permit is required.
I understand. It was not our impression to begin with in talking with the code enforcement on it, but however, if that's the city's requirement, that's the city's requirement. So I have to find somebody who will pull a permit for me.
And now considering that as a component, what is your anticipated time frame for completion and bringing the property into compliance?
30 to 60 days.
So given that,
I think possibly I have a contractor, but however, because of the tenant in there and the difficulties that I was having, I couldn't really get anybody to even to approach that wanted to deal with the mess.
if the city was to grant an additional 60 days from today's hearing, that would bring you to January 9th, 2025. That would be the Thursday before the next code enforcement meeting. I'm sorry, that's January. Let's say February 7th would be two months, just under shy of 60 days. An additional compliance date, extending the order to correct this last violation for subsection 304.6 exterior walls. But if compliance is not achieved by that time, then the order will retro back to October for the original fine date.
I understand.
Does the magistrate understand?
Yeah, so you would say we will give him an additional approximately 60 days to pull the permit, perform the work, make sure that it's inspected by Mr. Flanagan's team to make sure it's up to the compliance. Failing that, however, the fines would be imposed dating back to $100 a day starting from the October original compliance date, not the February compliance date. If the city is okay with that, then I have no issue. No, I have no issue with entering an order to that effect.
That would be the city's recommendation based on the comments of respondent.
Could we cut the fines down a little bit?
Well, there's a separate lien reduction process. That's not what we're
Is there?
here for
Okay.
today.
I'm
This
sorry,
is-
I'm not really acquainted. I'm a bankruptcy attorney, and I hope I never have to do another tenant eviction in my life.
Well, hopefully, in 60 days, this won't be an issue and the compliance
Yes, sir.
will be done. But, at this point in time, I don't have any discretion to say that the fine is
I
any
understand.
more or any less. It's just simply, is it in compliance or not? And the city being willing to grant a 60-day extension sort of changes things a little bit. But we can certainly enter an order to that effect. What we will do is, do you have anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Griffith, or?
No, not really. If that's where we're heading with it, that's fine. I'm not trying to avoid it. I'm just trying to find a
Right.
general contractor that is willing to pull a permit and not want to redo my whole place back there.
Right. And I don't know how long the process generally takes to pull a permit here, but, obviously. since-
Permit's relatively
Yeah.
quick for the ones we pulled, but, and again, the repairs that we're talking about here, having a worker out there to do it's probably going to be a week, and
You're also butting up against the holiday season too, so obviously as soon as you wrap up here,
yeah,
probably try to get
and
that.
So that's another problem too.
But I think 60 days is more than fair, just especially since today's date is even 2 months after the original date of compliance would have been. So what is that exact date you said?
Friday, February 7th is the Friday before the February code enforcement hearing, and the deadline will be February 7th at noon.
Okay.
Respondent, you are directed to contact code enforcement when you believe compliance has been achieved for an inspection.
Okay,
Do you have Mr. Flanagan's contact information?
I do.
Okay, perfect. So based on the testimony and evidence presented, which will be incorporated into our order, we find that the violation for the exterior walls, section 6-109, subsection 304.6, is still not in compliance as of the date hereof. The city will be granting extension for compliance to February 7th at noon for compliance. If compliance is not achieved by that date, fines will be imposed retroactively starting on October 11, 2024, which was the original date for compliance.
Yes, sir.
All right? Thank you.
sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chelsea. That was very nice of you. All right, we'll move on to our second hearing for the day. This will be 24-93 DWB Developers, Inc. And we have Officer May Wright. You may go ahead.
So I have 2 items to submit. The first is the affidavit and notice of hearing for today's hearing, and a copy of the original order from September.
Thank you. Oh, man, this is not in a nice folder like Jim gave me.
I'm sorry.
I'll accept it this time.
All right. So once again, this is the Massey hearing for case number 2493. Respondents are DWB Developers, Inc. Their registered agent is Soltaire Corporation. Our violation is on Louisiana Street, specifically parcel 2235-2801-2820. We have both mailing addresses for the listed property owner as well as the registered agent. And our violation is 6-109, subsection 302.4 for overgrowth. So this case was originally heard September 9th, 2024. The respondents did not attend. The respondent was ordered to correct the violation on or before October 12th, 2024. If compliance was not achieved, a fine in the amount of $100 per day commencing October 13th. Oops. And continuing daily until violation are corrected. Administrative costs were imposed in the amount of $163.75. So I do believe I have some typos in there, sir, and I do apologize.
Ugh.
One moment. Nope, I apologize. That is correct. So the Massey hearing was scheduled to take place October 15th, 2024, and that has been rescheduled to today. So there has been no contact with the owner or the registered agent for this property. I did do an inspection December 4th as well as this morning to see if compliance has been achieved. And there's been no work done by the owners of the property. I did keep in the subsection 302.4 for your review. So once again, this is an undeveloped tract of land, Louisiana. We have a house that is occupied at 2170 Louisiana, and that is the lot to the on the left-hand side of the vacant lot. So this picture is back from September 9th, the day of the initial hearing. Our main request was that they just keep the area along the sidewalk and the developed property cut at that under 12 inches in height. They do not do any mowing. The neighbors have been mowing the areas along the residence and the sidewalk. This is from November 22nd. Again, no work has been done. And last one is from last week, the 4th. So conclusions of fact, the violation still remains on the property. And again, we're asking for the $100 per day per violation be enforced and the administrative costs to be assessed.
Is anybody here on behalf of DWB Developers? No. Let the record show that no one responded did not appear at the hearing. And just to clarify, Officer Wright, you said they have not been in contact whatsoever?
No, sir.
Okay. Based on the evidence and testimony provided, it's pretty clear that the violation still exists. The fine of $100 per day commencing on October 12th will be imposed, as well as the city's cost of prosecution in the amount of $163.75.
Thank you, sir.
Do we have anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Is there a formal adjournment process where I just say I'm done? Is that?
Having heard nothing else, this meeting is adjourned.
This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
I emailed you